A woman from Winter Park, Florida is about to go to trial for second-degree murder in a deadly childhood game she played with her boyfriend back in February of 2020. Dubbed Suitcase Sarah, this is the type of case that doesn't only start out bizarre, but it continues through every step of the way, and I don't think it's gonna let up anytime soon. From the events of the night in question to court case drama and everything in between, not to mention long soliloquies that Sarah pens to the judge. And it's gonna be a trial worth watching, in my opinion. And she reminds me a little bit of Letitia Stauch, who also wrote letters to the judge and had some pretty interesting ways to defend herself. And Sarah also reminds me a little bit, her demeanor does, of Eileen Wuornos. She's the woman who I covered not long ago in this video. And her demeanor is sort of reminiscent of her. And for those of you who don't know, Eileen actually killed multiple men. She's known as a serial killer. Not to say that Sarah did, but it's a little bit of her behavior is very similar. Now, Sarah Boone claims it was simply an accident with her boyfriend and nothing more. But videos and conflicting statements and a shady background tell a different story. She is currently awaiting trial and continues to proclaim her innocence, saying it was not intentional and it was just simply an accident. Her behavior continues to be bizarre, as I mentioned, and oftentimes detrimental to her own case. Here are the 10 bizarre things you need to know before the case goes to trial. I'm Linda with It's a Crime, so now let's get into it. On February 24th, 2020, 42-year-old George Torres was found suffocated to death in a suitcase in Winter Park, Florida. And his girlfriend Sarah Boone claims it was an accident and happened as a result of a hide-and-seek game. Evidence was later found that cast doubt on Sarah's claims of it being an accident. She even told investigators that it looked bad. Let's start at number 10 of the oddities in the case. George was stuffed into a suitcase alive. Now, according to Sarah, she told investigators that she and her boyfriend George had shared a bottle of wine that evening in February of 2020 and relaxed with a puzzle and did some painting. Then she claimed they both decided to play the little game of hide and seek, and they both thought it would be funny to put George in the suitcase and for Sarah to just zip him up. And she further explained that they were both laughing and joking about it and found it pretty funny. But while he was in there, he also called out her name for help because he couldn't breathe, but she sat there taunting him, and evidence of that will be coming up in a minute. And she then said she went upstairs to bed and fell asleep, supposedly forgetting that George was in the suitcase. And she told investigators that she woke up the next morning but stayed in bed until roughly 12:30 p.m. and told the officers that when she went downstairs, she then remembered that he was still in the suitcase. She opened it up and found George inside, deceased. Now, before finding him, she said that she had assumed George was downstairs, likely job hunting on the computer, and upon finding George's body, she first called her ex-husband Brian, who told her to call the authorities. He then joined her at the scene and was seen on police body cam footage.
Which is when she told me what was going on and if I'd come over here, so I came over.
She called at 12:45.
Yeah,
Okay.
or 12:49.
12:49.
Got over here, told her she needed to call 911, get somebody over here, and then basically she said she needed to go outside, have a drink and a cigarette. I walked back out the house because I didn't really want to
Who
be
called?
there.
Did you call or did she call?
Well, I called. She called me back when I was on my way to make sure I was coming over.
Now, I'm just wondering, how does a person play hide and seek if the other player knows where they are already hiding? There's already a hole in the story. Although there were reports that said Sarah hid in the shower earlier that evening, but it is interesting. Now, number 9, she waited to call 911. Upon finding George's body, Sarah first called her ex-husband Brian, who told her to call the authorities, and Sarah placed the chilling 911 call at 1 p.m. During the call, she sounded strangely calm at first. She bluntly told the 911 operator that my boyfriend is dead.
911, what is the location of your emergency?
4748 France Court, apartment 3.
4748, what's the street name?
France, F-R-A-N-T-Z.
And the apartment number?
3.
Is this a police or medical?
My boyfriend is dead.
And she further explained he has blood coming out of his mouth and he was purple. She claims she tried to give him CPR, although it is still unknown if this is true. Against resistance from Sarah, the operator tells her to try CPR again, and she was asked to count along with her chest compressions. And notably, she did not sound out of breath or like she was exerting herself at all. And for those of you who've never done that, it's actually quite tiring doing CPR. Now, despite being told not to, she continues to stop counting, asking when help would arrive and informing the operator that she was still pumping his chest. Now, she also mentioned that she heard gurgles coming from him as well in this footage.
My boyfriend and I were playing last night, and I put him in his case and we were playing. And like kind of hide and seek kind of thing. So I fell asleep and I woke up and he was dead in the suitcase. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Okay, is he hanging from somewhere or what, ma'am?
No, I pulled him out of the suitcase. I tried giving him CPR.
Okay, so he was in a suitcase?
Yes, and I fell asleep.
I just need to confirm this. I understand. I just need to confirm this. Is he awake at all? Is he conscious at all?
No, he's purple.
Is he breathing?
No.
All right. I need you to get him on the floor, flat on his back for me, okay?
I did. I tried giving him CPR.
All right.
I tried giving him CPR.
Yeah, okay.
But nothing happened. He's purple.
Okay, listen to me. There's a defibrillator available. I need you to get it for me, okay?
What is it?
You have an AED available?
No.
All right. Are you right by him now?
I'm sorry?
Are you right by him now?
Yes.
Okay. Lay him flat on his... Okay, ma'am, listen. So is he cold and stiff?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's not necessarily cold, but he's stiff. And
Right,
he's
okay.
purple.
All right, listen to me. Listen to me. I want you to lay him flat on his back for me on the floor.
I did.
Removing the pillows. Okay.
Yes, I did.
All right, okay.
He's stiff and purple.
Right, okay, listen. Okay, man, that's fine. We're still going to do compressions on him, okay? All right? Place the heel of your hand on his breastbone, right in the center of the chest, right between the nipples.
Yes.
Put your other hand on top of that hand.
Baby, I'm telling you. Just by looking at him, you can tell.
Okay. And?
Please. Okay, he just gurgled.
Okay. Listen to me. All right. I want you to place the heel of your hand. Okay, right between his chest, right between his breastbones.
Yes.
Put your other hand on top of that hand.
Yes,
we want to pump his chest to me hard and fast, going to this twice per second.
I'm doing it again.
Okay, no, just keep on pumping. That's all you need to do for me. Keep on pumping his chest for me. I don't need you to stop and talk or anything. I just want you to count out loud for me, okay?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is nothing.
Okay, ma'am, just keep on pumping his chest. That's all you need to do for me, okay?
Yes. Come on, please. Hurry up.
Okay, ma'am, they're driving here as fast as they can. Okay, don't stop to say hurry up. Just keep on pumping and counting.
I'm still doing it while I'm talking to you, okay?
Okay.
Now, this also reminds me of the Daybell case, where a man named Alex Cox shot his brother-in-law, Charles Vallow, and waited also to call 911, and nonchalantly said when he did call, he's not going to do CPR, but then he says, yes, he'll try once the operator was encouraging him to, and he didn't actually do it. Medics mentioned that it didn't look like he administered CPR. Number 8, she has a charge 2 years prior for battery by strangulation. Now, both George Torres and Sarah Boone had previous arrests related to domestic violence. In 2018, an incident involving Sarah and George would lead to Sarah being charged with battery by strangulation, and both told investigators different stories. George claimed Sarah had tried to strangle him, and he alleged he had to kick her off him or he would have been incapacitated. And Sarah claimed that after talking to another man at a bar, George dragged her up the stairs and kicked her in the right eye. With little evidence to corroborate either story, Investigators were unable to tell who the primary aggressor was, and so Sarah was ultimately charged with battery by suffocation. However, her charge was later dismissed. And in 2019, George had been arrested 4 times for alleged battery against Sarah, and his most recent charge was in September of 2019, and Sarah accused George of punching her in her right ear, and as a result, a temporary injunction of protection was put in place. But every time George was arrested, Sarah would bail him out. And Sarah's neighbors said that they would frequently hear shouting and arguments coming from the home, and they had also seen deputies at the home previously in multiple occasions. Number 7, she recorded the murder while he begged to be let out. 2 days after George's death, Sarah was asked to go to the police station for an interview. And during the interview, law enforcement searched Sarah's phone after she signed a waiver and gave written and verbal consent. And the search resulted in 2 videos taken on Sarah's phone on the evening of the incident. And the videos showed George in the suitcase pleading for Sarah to help him while she just sat there taunting him. The first video was 2 minutes long and shows George in the suitcase with the suitcase facing downward. And the video shows George moving around trying to get out and repeatedly calling for Sarah, saying, "I can't effing breathe, seriously." And Sarah just coldly replied, "Yeah, that's what you do when you choke me." And she was heard giggling and sounded unconcerned with his distress. George continued to desperately plead with Sarah, again telling her he can't breathe. And callously, Sarah responds, "That's on you. Oh, that's what I feel like when you cheat on me. You should probably shut the F up." And she continues to mock him and tells him it's punishment for cheating on her, and she makes no attempt to help him. Have a look.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
For everything you've done to me.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
You.
Sarah.
Stupid.
Sarah.
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Sarah. I can't breathe, babe. Seriously.
Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me.
Sarah. 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 Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
That's on you.
Sarah, I can't breathe.
It's on you.
Sarah.
Real or ransom. I want to get video for it extra. Because I got this.
Sarah.
Real or ransom.
Sarah. Sarah, I can't breathe, babe.
Oh. That's what I feel like when you ching on me.
Sarah. Breathe, Sarah.
Yeah. You should probably shut up.
Sarah.
The second video is just 22 seconds long, and it shows George desperately calling out Sarah's name before the video abruptly ends. And it is important to note that this time the suitcase is now facing upward.
Sarah.
Now, according to the affidavit, when police showed Sarah one of the videos, she pushed it away when it was halfway through, saying she didn't want to see it. And she claimed to have no recollection of taking the videos, but acknowledged that they looked bad.
Yeah, that's when you do when you choke me.
Sarah.
I don't want to watch it, please. Okay.
Last time
we talked to you, you had said that you put him in the suitcase, he had 2 fingers hanging out, and you
I
went
flipped
to
him
bed.
over. I flipped him over, and that's where it was. Please don't, I don't mean to sound negative, and I don't know if I can say this, but, like, it's like you guys are kind of trying to, like, feed me. Like,
no, I'm just trying to show you a video that you no longer want to watch because you probably don't want to know the outcome of how and what you said.
Well, I know what...
You know what's on that video now?
No.
You remember making that video?
No.
Why don't you remember making the video?
Probably because we had been drinking.
But you weren't drunk.
No. Just because I went upstairs and... Just
You
because
told
you're
us-
drunk doesn't mean that
You told us times that you were not drunk. You said that you had your wits about you. You said he had his wits about you.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you don't like not having your wits. In my experience, if somebody cannot remember doing something to the extent of making 2 videos and taking a photo, they are intoxicated.
Okay.
Also, she did sound quite inebriated in the footage, and in body cam footage with her ex-husband, he did say that he could tell that she had been drinking, as she called him the night before, or that night that they played hide and seek. I don't know about you, this doesn't look like an accident. Share your thoughts below. Let me know. It's going to be interesting, this case. It already is. Number 6, 8 lawyers have dropped her, making her represent herself. In June of 2024, Sarah's lawyer filed a motion to withdraw, citing irreconcilable differences. And this was her 8th lawyer to ask to be withdrawn from representing her. In the judge's ruling, he noted that each of her previous lawyers cited similar reasons for withdrawal. He said, as of June 26, 2024, this case has been pending 4 years, 3 months, 5 days from the date of the filing of the information on March 23, 2020. Actions speak louder than words. Although the defendant's words seemingly reveal a desire to go to trial, however, as set forth herein, her actions and inability to work with court-appointed counsel are repeated over and over. Now, defense attorney Mauricio Padilla was Sarah's lawyer between 2020 and 2022. When asked for more details regarding the irreconcilable differences, he explained he was, quote, under the belief that the specifics of the adversarial relationship may disclose information that may prejudice his client, and as such will stand mute on the specifics. AKA, if he shared the details of the conflict, it could harm Sarah's case, so he wouldn't discuss the details. Following his withdrawal, the judge noted the state's concern around Sarah's unhappiness with every single attorney and advised her about the dangers of self-representation. She was then represented by an attorney named Frank Bankowitz from July 2022 to September 2023, and he noted the treatment he received from Sarah, stating she would refer to him as a dud and a buffoon, and he reported that she would call him 5 to 10 times every single day. And after he withdrew from representing Sarah, he said in his own motion that, quote, the defendant will not be satisfied with any attorney unless said attorney does not have a caseload and can dedicate his or her time solely to Miss Boone's case. The best possible avenue is to have the defendant represent herself, as no attorney can satisfy her. And her next lawyer, Winston Hobson, requested also to withdraw from the case in February of this year. The judge advised Sarah that although the defendant has a right to court-appointed counsel, that right is not unlimited. The court twice advised defendant that defendant may not be provided another court-appointed attorney, and that defendant would have to represent herself if circumstances similar to Hobson's motion to withdraw occur. The court further advised defendant about the dangers of self-representation due to defendant's lack of legal training and knowledge. And Sarah's most recent and final lawyer was Patricia Cashman, and the judge noted she has an extensive experience representing criminal defendants as both an assistant public defender and in private practice, including representing defendants accused of murder, and is widely known to be able and willing to deal with and manage difficult clients. And Sarah complained about Cashman, saying she was difficult to work with, calling her a liar, and noted her, quote, unwarranted, uninformative, unprofessional, snotty attitude. This would be Sarah's last court-appointed attorney. She now has to represent herself and the official terms going pro se. And so the judge ruled that Sarah will defend herself and said that her trial will not be postponed again and will move forward. And the judge noted that the trial, quote, will not be continued for any reason except by extraordinarily good cause, and such extraordinarily good cause shall not include retention of counsel by the defendant. So it looks like Sarah's antics and her mistreatment of those past 8 attorneys has led her to these final moments. If she wishes to be represented by an attorney now, she must appoint the attorney herself, but as the judge said, she's not to prolong the trial. And Letitia Stout pulled this same thing in her case, and then she changed her mind. But in court, Sarah, who realized the gravity of her situation, pled with the judge saying, quote, I do not forfeit my right. That was your judgment. And also, I feel that I should have some kind of evidentiary hearing prior to your decision so I could have a better chance at explaining myself and your understanding. I don't want to be pro se any longer. I didn't want to be pro se in the first place. The judge, who was fed up, just said, denied, period. Number 5, she wrote a 58-page letter to the judge. In a court appearance on June 7th of this year, Sarah submitted a staggering 58-page letter to the court. She stated the letter expressed her ongoing frustrations with her final attorney, Patricia Cashman, and the letter also contained more than 12 pages of legal definitions and excerpts taken from the Declaration of Independence, the Florida Constitution, and the Florida Rules of Criminal Procedure. And the letter outlines Sarah's feelings that she has lost faith in her lawyer. She wrote, why am I still not being included in my case? How much more of my case and self is being added hourly, in brackets, especially after this letter gets loose, to the internet, increasing the mass infection and destruction of my hopes to have a fair trial, anything fair, my side foremost, and wondering now if my attorney drank the punch like everyone else. Unsurprisingly, Sarah defends herself saying, I am not the problem, except that I want to and should be treated fairly, with respect, acting more professional than the paid I've been doing this for over 40 years professional. And after so long and in all experience, she says, common courtesy, customer service, and listening skills should have been acquired. The letter goes on to say that even with her distrust in that lawyer, she still wants her to represent her at trial. She explained, I should feel secure, highly confident, proud in her representing my life. I do not and have said to her many times regarding her monumental disbelief in me and my case, which I believe contributes greatly to her inimical attitude towards me. I am hoping by this letter she will pick up the sword of injustice and fight alongside, not against me, as so many unmotivated, overwhelmed, weak attorneys prior who bowed out ungracefully and crept away from the battlefield unsuccessful. As I said earlier, that lawyer ultimately dropped her too. And due to her behavior and inability to retain representation, the judge has previously asked Sarah if she would like to represent herself. And in her letter, Sarah refused that. She said it was not an option, as both judges have now threatened me with from being outspoken and intelligent in all my observations of the ongoing abuse I am and have experienced. I have no new experiences from it, always being the same, blame Boone. Sarah's letter at times becomes strange and bizarre. Reflecting on her meetings with her lawyer, Sarah wrote, I added pretend judge to our interactions so she could calm down and ease up on her condescension, offensive demeanor, and obvious prejudgment. She seems like everyone else not to remember I am innocent until adjudged otherwise. She treats me as if I am not. She signed off the letter with her signature, a scribbled heart, and, quote, confused cat meme, yes, thank you.
I'm prepared to go forward with it. I'm here live. I'm not a cat.
Now, note, this is both reminiscent to me of Letitia and Eileen. Let me know what your thoughts are below. Number 4, she placed a handwritten want ad for a lawyer. Sarah, in an act of desperation for representation, made a handwritten advertisement seeking a lawyer. And the ad states, inmate seeks attorney looking for a prosperous challenge, Ready for your close-up on national television? Are you zealous with a side of keen? Show the world who you are with your original creativity, extraordinary expertise, and confident ingenuity. Qualifications must include client inclusion at all times, team orientation, exceptional problem-solving skills, and maintaining faith in the client. And she ends the strange advertisement with, invest in the oppressed, believe epic opportunity awaits. And it's unknown if any lawyers have reached out in response to this ad as of the time of this recording, but currently Sarah is due to represent herself, as I said, at trial. Do you feel like this actually should be on a QVC, this ad? It sounds like an as seen on TV commercial. Number 3, Sarah will be stun cuffed at trial. On August 9th of this year, just a few weeks ago, Sarah requested that she be unshackled, and she told the judge that she didn't want to be handcuffed during pretrial hearings as she wanted her hands free and wanted to be completely unshackled during her trial. She said, quote, I'm just asking to sit here unhandcuffed so I can write without taking skin off my wrist and being extremely uncomfortable. In her motion, she explained that by being unshackled and handcuffed, she would, quote, turn pages, pick up objects, open documents, pass information, utilize a laptop, and freely perform other normal movements. And in response, an Orange County Sheriff's deputy testified at the hearing and told the judge that he didn't think Sarah should be unshackled. He explained, based on her current charge of second-degree murder, she also has previous domestic arrests for battery strangulation, and he goes on to say, she has 3 separate incidents at the jail for non-compliance where she was told to attend her court hearings, her scheduled court hearings, and she refused to do so even though corrections officers told her she could be charged with contempt of court, and she still refused to attend those hearings. And when you combine all that, it shows a propensity for violence and not wanting to follow lawful commands and orders from law enforcement personnel. Guess who also refused to go to court? That's right, Letitia Stout. So Judge Kranick ruled that Sarah will not be handcuffed in her upcoming pretrial hearings, but will remain in leg shackles. And he further ruled that for Sarah's trial, she will not have to wear shackles or handcuffs, but instead, she will be fitted with a stun cuff. And according to Courthouse Deputy Chad Barnett, who testified in court, that the stun cuff is wireless and will be secured to Sarah's leg, and it can discharge 50,000 volts and would cause the person to fall down. And the deputy will be in control of that stun cuff. And if she does anything or tries to escape or attack somebody, they could activate this cuff remotely and send these electric shocks throughout her body. What do you think about this? Number 2, she has contradictory statements. Now, first, the hide and seek story. Sarah initially claimed that her boyfriend George Torres ended up in the suitcase during a game of hide and seek. However, this explanation conflicts with the later discovery of video evidence showing her taunting him while she was trapped inside. Next is the timing of the 911 call. Sarah Boone waited before calling 911. She even called her ex-husband first, waited for him to come over and then call, and she claimed that she found him in the morning, but her delay in contacting authorities raises questions about her timeline and her actions. Then it's memory lapses. Sarah claimed that she didn't remember recording the videos where she taunted George while he was inside the suitcase, despite the videos being found on her phone. However, there is the idea of having alcohol and being drunk, although in the body cam footage, she said that they shared only 1 bottle of wine, so I doubt it. The assertion is inconsistent with the clear and deliberate nature of the recordings. Wouldn't you agree? Also, the statements to police. Sarah's story changed multiple times when speaking with police, and at one point she claimed she thought George could get out of the suitcase on his own, but this also contradicts the evidence from the videos and the nature of the suitcase itself. And there's also contradictory statements about abuse. Sarah suggested that her actions might have been a response to George's alleged cheating and domestic violence. However, she simultaneously maintained that his death was just an accident, creating a contradiction between her motives and her claims of innocence. Number 1, autopsy results had more than just suffocating in the suitcase. Unsurprisingly, George's post-mortem results showed his cause of death to be positional asphyxia with environmental suffocation, consistent with prolonged confinement in the suitcase. However, the autopsy results didn't end there. Results also showed he had multiple injuries, including a busted lip, long fingernail scratches to his back and neck, a black eye, abrasions to his hands, and bruising to his skull, shoulder, and forehead, indicating blunt force trauma. And the results put further doubt into Sarah's claims of innocence. Now, Sarah's trial is set to start on October 7th, 2024, with the judge firmly saying there will be no more delays. It will be interesting to see how she handles her own case. I will be here to stream this if I can, or we'll be covering it, so stay tuned. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Both sides are expected to discuss how she can access some of the evidence in her case. She previously complained that she had not received all of her discovery at her July 25th hearing. She said that she was thoroughly confused by the hearing, so stay tuned for that. Now, how do you think Sarah will represent herself at trial? Do you think she'll do her best, or do you think it will be ending up being a you-know-what show? And will any attorney, do you think, respond to her handwritten ad that she placed? How did George receive the injuries noted in his autopsy? Was his death much more tragic than initially thought? Why did she call her ex-husband first instead of 911? And why did he have to prompt her to make the 911 call? Was George's murder premeditated or spur of the moment? And were all those lawyers just a ploy to push out her trial as long as possible? And will Sarah take the battered spouse defense for her trial and place the blame on George? Check out the video right here with Eileen Warnos that I mentioned and her odd behavior, and check out what YouTube thinks you should watch.